What if I told you that within you resides an energy as ancient as the stars and as powerful as creation itself? An energy capable of shaping reality, of attracting everything you long for, and of turning simple desires into tangible manifestations. This force is not hidden in some distant temple, nor guarded by invisible keepers. It is pulsing within you right now, waiting to be awakened, cultivated, and directed. I am speaking of sexual alchemy. Since time immemorial, sages and alchemists across cultures have whispered about a hidden force, a sacred spark that, when known and transfigured, opens the doors to unimaginable levels of personal power, limitless creativity, and natural magnetism. The ancients did not see sexual energy merely as a means for reproduction or fleeting pleasure. They recognized it as the purest expression of vital energy, the very substance with which the cosmos itself was forged. Through the ages, this knowledge was carefully protected. Those who understood the art of transmuting sexual energy knew it was not only a path to physical ecstasy, but also a mystical tool, capable of raising one's energetic frequency, expanding consciousness, and attracting circumstances aligned with the soul's deepest desires. Today, this wisdom re-emerges from the veil of forgetfulness, reclaiming its place in the awareness of spiritual seekers. Pawned, and you, standing at this threshold, are about to step into an understanding that can radically transform your relationship with your body, by your mind, and with reality itself. In this journey, we will unravel the mysteries of sexual alchemy. We will explore its origins and role in esoteric traditions, break down its essential concepts, and learn how to consciously channel this energy to attract what your soul longs for. We will speak of ancient practices, metaphors that illuminate its workings, and I will share concrete tools so you can begin walking this sacred path. Prepare yourself for a voyage into the depths of your own being, where polarity merges, where energy rises like the awakening serpent, and where life itself becomes a conscious art of creation. Because when you master this energy, you do not only transform your inner world, you transform your entire reality. Throughout human history, civilizations that have risen and fallen have left behind fragments of hidden knowledge, wisdom that transcended mere physical survival. In the dusty scrolls of Egypt, the carved temples of India, the crypts of Western esotericism, and the sacred mountains of China, the same truth is whispered under different names. Sexual energy not only generates life, but when refined and elevated, it opens the gateway to inner mastery and deliberate creation of reality. In ancient Egypt, the priests and priestesses of the Isiac and Osirian mysteries spoke of the vital energy that connects body and spirit. Within their rituals, techniques of transmutation sought to direct the energy generated through sacred union toward the expansion of consciousness and the awakening of divine capacities latent within the human being. The union of Isis and Osiris was not only a metaphor of eternal love, but also of the fusion of inner polarities to awaken creative potential. Across the world, in ancient India, Tantric scriptures revealed equally profound knowledge. Tantra teaches that sexual energy known as Shaktis, the manifestation of the universal feminine principle, when consciously channeled upward through the energy centers, the chakras, it awakens cosmic consciousness. The practice of Maituna, or sacred union, was never seen as indulgence, but as a ceremony for the expansion of the soul through the balanced union of masculine and feminine energies. The practitioner could experience ego dissolution and the perception of universal oneness. In Taoist tradition in China, sages cultivated the art of retaining and circulating sexual energy, known as Jing Qi. According to these masters, sexual energy was the fundamental elixir which, when sublimated through practices such as Nigong or sexual qi, nourished the vital organs, prolonged life, and facilitated communion with the Tao, the supreme source of all existence. The practice of the microcosmic orbit, where energy ascends from the perineum up along the spine to the crown, was considered a path to bodily and spiritual enlightenment in the esoteric schools of the West, such as medieval alchemy. This knowledge was also veiled in symbols and metaphors. Alchemists spoke of the conjunctio, the union of the sun and moon, of sulfur and mercury, representing the fusion of inner opposites, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious. This integration was the essential step toward the creation of the philosophers. Stone, the symbol of total transformation of the self and the manifestation of one's desired reality, despite cultural and linguistic differences. All these traditions converge upon a unified understanding. Sexual energy is the prima materia, the sacred fire, which when directed with awareness and reverence, opens the doors to a life of fulfillment, creativity, longevity, and connection with the divine. Yet this knowledge was not always accessible to all. For centuries, it was reserved only for initiates, those who, after rigorous tests of character, discipline, and purity of intention, proved themselves worthy of wielding this powerful energy without falling into manipulation or corruption. It is no coincidence that this wisdom became obscured over time, veiled by dogma, prejudice, and misunderstanding. The power granted by sexual alchemy was so vast that the ancient orders knew it had to be protected from profane hands. Today, however, we stand before a renaissance of this wisdom. As more souls seek to transcend material limitations and reconnect with their creative essence, the teachings of sexual alchemy resurface, reminding us of what we once knew, that within us pulses the same force that shaped the stars, and which now can shape our dreams. Imagine for a moment that within you flows a subterranean river, a torrent of pure energy moving silently, hidden beneath the layers of ordinary consciousness. This river is sexual energy. It is not merely the biological impulse toward reproduction, as modern societies have taught us to believe. It is a current of creative force, the very spark that ignited the birth of the universe, and which now lies latent in every cell of your body. Sexual Alchemy is the ancient and sacred art of learning to navigate this river of channeling its flow and transforming it into something far greater than momentary pleasure. Interpersonal magnetism, mental clarity, the power of manifestation, and spiritual expansion. The first fundamental concept to understand is that sexual energy is the energy of life itself. In modern terms, we might describe it as a highly concentrated form of bioelectricity. When this energy is cultivated and not blindly dispersed, it begins to saturate our organs, glands, and nervous system, gifting us with unusual vitality and a magnetic presence that ancient cultures described as a radiant aura or a strengthened energy field. This accumulation is not repression, it is conscious transmutation. To achieve this, the ancient traditions agreed upon the same principle. Attention directs energy. Where the mind goes, the vital force flows. During moments of arousal or desire, we direct our awareness, not outward, but inward, guiding the energy upward from the base of the spine toward the heart or the crown. We begin to nourish the more subtle layers of our being. This principle is known in Taoist teachings as the inner smile, and in tantric practices as the rising of Kundalini. A powerful analogy is that of fire. If a fire is small and scattered, it barely warms its surroundings. But if contained skillfully and directed, it can melt metals or power great machines. Such is the nature of sexual energy. When it is not dissipated through excess or constant distraction, it becomes a fuel capable of sustaining our projects, healing our body, and elevating our consciousness. The second key concept is inner polarity. All human beings, regardless of gender, carry within themselves two complementary forces: the masculine act, focused, penetrating, and the expansive, creative. Sexual alchemy teaches that the secret to transmutation lies in balancing these polarities. When we manage to merge them internally, for example, by balancing logic with intuition, action with contemplation, giving with receiving, we create a closed circuit that generates ascending energy. This mirrors the symbolism of yin and yang, where harmony arises from the integration of opposites. A third essential principle is conscious breathing. It is no coincidence that all practices of sexual alchemy, from Tantra to Taoism, emphasize deep rhythmic breathing. Breath is the bridge between body and mind. It is the vehicle that carries sexual energy through the subtle channels of the organism. Through slow, deep breathing combined with clear visualization, we can guide this energy from the sexual center toward the higher energy centers, expanding our awareness and strengthening our ability to manifest intentions. In essence, sexual alchemy begins with a profound understanding. Sexual energy is a sacred and powerful resource that can be cultivated, directed, and transmuted for higher purposes. Through mindfulness, the balance of polarities, and conscious breathing, we transform a basic instinct into a spiritual tool. It is here that the modern seeker begins to glimpse the dormant power within. waiting to be awakened, not through repression, but through reverence and wisdom. In the inner chambers of ancient temples, where only the most disciplined initiates had access, a secret was whispered across centuries and civilizations. Sexual energy is not only fuel for personal vitality, but also a master key for shaping reality itself. To understand this principle is to enter the hidden pathways of inner alchemy, where the subtle laws of the universe intertwine with the deepest fibers of our being. The first nuance we must explore is the relationship between sexual energy and creative intention. In Hermetic and Tantric traditions, it was taught that every act of creation, whether it is a work of art, a project, a relationship, or even a new destiny, is rooted in the same force that gives rise to physical life. The difference lies in how we direct this energy. When we unite our sexual energy with a clear intention and a vivid visualization, we create a powerful resonance that magnetizes the circumstances, people, and resources necessary to manifest our vision. What the ancients called sexual magic, today we might call amplified energetic intention. The second crucial aspect is the purification of desire. In its rawest form, sexual desire can be chaotic, impulsive, and eager. However, when the practitioner learns to refine that desire, transforming it from a search for personal gratification into an aspiration for expansion, connection, and spiritual evolution, the energy becomes brighter, subtler, and more powerful. Mystics would say that purified desire is the vehicle of the soul. Through sexual alchemy, the practitioner ceases to be a slave to impulses and becomes an alchemist, sublimating desire into compassion, wisdom, and limitless creativity. Here, an advanced concept enters: emotional sublimation. Sexual energy is not only tied to the physical body, but also to the deepest emotions: passion, joy, sorrow, anger. Sexual alchemy teaches that these emotions are different expressions of the same base energy. For example, if in a state of arousal we consciously blend feelings of gratitude, love, or compassion, we raise the vibrational frequency of sexual energy, creating a far more coherent and magnetic field. A practical example is the meditation of the fusion of the 5 elements practiced by Taoist Alchemists. In this technique, the practitioner visualizes negative emotion sphere, anger, sadness, transforming into their corresponding virtues: wisdom, compassion, equanimity, through the conscious circulation of sexual energy within the internal organs. Over time, this process not only strengthens physical health, but also refines the psyche and expands awareness. It is essential to understand that sexual alchemy is a progressive path, not a quick technique for instant gratification. The ancients knew that the body, mind, and spirit must gradually adapt to increasing levels of energy. For this reason, the processes of sexual alchemy were always accompanied by complementary practices such as meditation, conscious breathing, balanced nutrition, and constant self-observation. The goal is not to accumulate power selfishly, but to become clear and balanced channels of a greater universal force. When the practitioner perseveres with patience, respect, and dedication, they experience what the sages described as the union of the human and the divine. Transmuted sexual energy not only grants health, vitality, and magnetism, but also a profound connection to the source of creation. Life ceases to be a struggle of opposing forces and becomes a harmonious dance with the flow of the universe. It is then that, as Hermetic texts declare, what is above is like what is below, and what is within is like what is without. At this point, sexual alchemy reveals its true nature, a sacred technology for expanding consciousness, manifesting our highest ideals, and returning to the origin as conscious co-creators of reality with all its mystical depth and ancient roots. Sexual alchemy is not confined to temples or solitary mountains of the initiated. Its true magic unfolds when we weave it into simple, everyday actions, transforming each moment into an opportunity to refine our energy, expand awareness, pack, and magnetize our highest aspirations. Here are 4 essential practices tested over centuries that you can integrate into daily life to awaken and channel this powerful energy. First, cultivate conscious bodily presence. The first step in sexual alchemy is returning to the body not as a mere collection of organs or muscles, but as a sacred temple where vital energy flows. Spend a few minutes each day sensing energy in your lower abdomen, the center known as the Tantian in Taoist tradition or Hera in Japan. This is the energetic cauldron where vital force gathers. By breathing deeply into this area and keeping attention there, we begin to accumulate and stabilize sexual energy, preventing its dispersion through tension, worries, or external distractions. Second, breath as the alchemical bridge. In sexual alchemy, breath is the vehicle that transports energy from the lower centers to the higher ones. Practice conscious, slow, deep breathing while visualizing energy rising from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. This technique not only channels sexual force into the heart and mind, but also calms emotions and enhances mental clarity. Breath thus becomes a bridge between instinct and intuition. Third, clear intention and elevated emotions. Each time you experience arousal or heightened vitality, whether through creative inspiration, enthusiasm, or physical attraction, pause for a few seconds and set a clear intention. It may be a project, emotional healing, or a spiritual goal. Accompany this intention with elevated emotions such as gratitude, compassion, or joy. This combination of sexual energy, conscious intention, and elevated emotion forms the alchemical triad that transforms mere desires into tangible manifestations. Fourth, conservation and circulation, not repression. One of the most common mistakes is confusing sexual alchemy with repression or denial of sexuality. It is not about suppression, but about learning to conserve and circulate energy, avoiding constant leakage through automatic habits or compulsive stimuli. To achieve this, cultivate practices such as energetic self-massage, like qi, naisang, meditation, and mindful exercise. These activities balance sexual energy with the rest of your systems, ensuring that it nourishes body, mind, and spirit alike. Adopting these practices not only increases personal magnetism and inner clarity, but also harmonizes relationships, enhances creativity, and connects you with an inner source of well-being that transcends external circumstances. True sexual alchemy does not seek the selfish accumulation of power, but the luminous expansion of our essential nature, integrating body, mind, and soul in a cosmic dance of conscious creation. Remember, every ordinary moment, no matter how simple it seems, is an opportunity to refine your energy and step closer to the sacred art of being a co-creator of your reality. Throughout this journey, we have descended into the depths of knowledge veiled by centuries sexual alchemy. This sacred art, beyond mere sensuality or fleeting desire, is a master key capable of opening the doors to inner transformation and conscious creation. We have come to understand that sexual energy is not just a biological impulse, but a condensed expression of the creative force of the cosmos, the very principle that gives birth to the stars, the oceans, and the seeds of life. True alchemy does not lie in seeking outside what already lives within us. It is about refining, elevating, and transmuting the densest energies into higher states of consciousness. Through bodily presence, conscious breathing, clear intention, and the circulation of vital energy, we become architects of our reality, capable of attracting and manifesting all that resonates with the frequency of our essential being. This is not only about techniques or ancient rituals. It is an invitation to live from an expanded state of consciousness, where every thought, emotion, and action aligns with our highest nature. When we consciously cultivate and direct sexual energy, we dissolve inner fragmentations, unify our energy centers, and awaken a magnetic force that transforms our lives into a fertile field of infinite possibilities. Let us remember that the ancient alchemists spoke of solve, coagulate to dissolve, and to coagulate as the essential process of any transmutation. In the same way, in our modern practice, we must dissolve old beliefs, reactive habits, and unconscious patterns, and then coagulate that is crystallize a new way of being that is more whole, radiant, and sovereign. Now, I invite you to take a step further. If this message has resonated with you, share this wisdom, expand the energy, and allow others to also discover this map toward inner harmony. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with those you feel are ready to receive these teachings. Together, we weave a network of awakened consciousness that honors and preserves this ancestral knowledge. Stay tuned for our upcoming content, where we will continue exploring the mysteries and teachings that, since time immemorial, have guided seekers of balance, inner power, and transcendent truth. For this path is infinite, and each revelation is only a doorway into an even greater mystery. May the light of wisdom and the power of alchemy accompany you always, in every breath, in every intention, and in every creation.